Guys, big news. It has been 8 days. 8 days since I've smoked weed, since I've consumed it in any form. Tasha Marie James, stop smoking weed. I literally never thought I'd be saying that. The only thing I've noticed so far, aside from like the clearest head of my entire existence, is my sleep. Dude, I've been getting like 9.5, 10 hours every single night. And don't get me wrong when I say I am so proud of quitting smoking weed for the last 2 weeks. I've never done that in my entire life. But smoking weed wasn't the thing that I needed to change. It was the thing that was getting in the way of everything else that I need to change. It was stunting that growth. I am struggling today. I am fucking exhausted. I can't sleep. I can't fall asleep. I can't stay asleep. I'm literally trying everything I can, even the melatonin I took. I have to share this with you guys. I've said it before and I'm going to say it 10 million more times. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have zero idea what I'm doing. I'm just picking shit and running with it. Oh. All right, we got our sweatpants on. We got our coffee. Hope you have your popcorn because this has been a long-awaited video for sure. I wanted to wait till I felt like I was in a more comfortable spot to actually talk about this, so I had the right mindset. I had experienced not being sober again, and then, gotten to the point where I'm at right now with substance and my mental health and all that jazz. So when I initially started posting, like way back when I started smoking weed on my story, this was probably like 4 years ago. I got a lot of people who were like, hell yeah, fitness girl who can like smoke weed and like still be healthy and like all this stuff. And then, equally I got people who were like, yo, fuck you. You say you're like a fitness coach and like a health and fitness advocate and you're like over here just ripping the bong and taking dabs on your story and like getting high before the gym and like all this stuff. And with anything, literally anything on the internet, you're going to get hate for it, you're going to get love for it. Putting yourself out there, there's going to be people who hate you and love you, and I've been doing this for long enough. There are forums talking about me, there are, really mean, really nice comments, messages, things that just come with having a online presence as I do. I think it's really important to explain myself, as I'm sure you guys know. I love talking and explaining and giving my experience and my perception and just kind of letting people know my take on things, especially after some time. So I think we should start way back in my childhood and kind of how I got into using substance and what kind of led me to do that, which I've talked about many times, but I think this is very important for everybody who hasn't heard it yet. My dad was around until I was about 5. We called him the Disneyland dad. He was there for the good times and just disappeared when things got hard, when we needed like doctor's appointments or medication or, we needed to be disciplined or anything like that. He just kind of disappeared. After a while, it was like, hey, I'm gonna come pick you and your brother up, and then he wouldn't show up. And it was like, hey, I'll be at your birthday, and never showed up. And then eventually it was just like one last phone call, a three-way phone call between him, my brother, and I, and then never heard from him again. It's been, gosh, how old am I? 26. It's been 18 years since I've heard from him. I have no idea where he is, no idea how to contact him. He has no credit card, no driver's license that's up to date, no like place to reside that we can go like knock on the door and be like, hey, what's up? It's just, he's just gone out of my life. And I've contemplated a lot, especially before I decided to get sober, like trying to go find him. He definitely owes my mom like hundreds of thousands of dollars in child support, and I'm assuming that's why he's hiding, probably with a little bit of, you know, resentment towards himself, or guilt and shame, I should say, not resentment, guilt and shame towards himself for, you know, obviously like quote unquote abandoning his kids. But I'm a very empathetical person, and the way I see it, he probably just wasn't ready for kids, and he just couldn't handle the responsibility. But anyway, obviously that started me off in like not the greatest spot in life, as a daughter missing her dad. You know, I never got the talk from him. I never got the love from him that I needed. So I sought that out in many other ways, one being substance. I think I got high for the first time when I was 12, sixth grade summer going into seventh grade. Smoked weed for the first time. I'd smoked cigarettes a few times, but yeah, actually having a mind-altering substance, I was 12. And from then, it just escalated very quickly. Started just smoking weed, and like, you know, we were just the little hood rat kids going to the skate park and sneaking out of our house late at night to, you know, go get high together, and then coming back and just passing out and, you know, being a fucking little kid. And then once I got to high school, I, you know, found my people, and we started doing all sorts of drugs, pills, hallucinogenics. And what's really funny is I actually always hated alcohol. All my friends would, you know, pass around a bottle or whatever, and I'd just be like, dude, I'm good. Any other mind-altering substance that isn't gonna taste like absolute poopy butthole, I will take, but alcohol was just never my jive. I did enjoy getting drunk, but back then we didn't have like fun seltzers or things that didn't really taste like alcohol. Like they just all tasted like ass, and everyone wanted to drink beer, and like I literally have never enjoyed a beer in my whole entire life. So essentially, any other drug under the sun I was down for, except for meth and heroin. For some reason, that's where I crossed the line. I just knew they had really addictive characteristics, and I didn't want to be that person to actually be dependent on a substance. Up until, you know, probably like a year ago, I always thought that I was just doing drugs for fun, and I didn't need them, and I just wanted to enjoy life in an altered state. It was, I got addicted to Xanax probably when I was 17 to about 20. I would take Xanax pretty much every opportunity I had that wouldn't fuck with like my life. So if I could take one and not have to work the next day or go somewhere important or be around family or something like that, I was on Xanax for sure. Every weekend, hands down. I would, you know, crave it all the time. I'd want it all the time. And I stopped Xanax and pretty much every hard drug when I met my first super serious relationship, and I was with him for 5 years, and he just kind of like put a mirror in my face and was like, hey, totally cool that you smoke weed and you know you want to like fuck around and, you know, drink and enjoy yourself every now and again, but like the hard drugs are just not going to get you anywhere. And I'm really thankful for that, because I pretty much stopped immediately. And then quickly after that, I stopped smoking cigarettes. So I realized that cigarettes were a social thing as well, and I actually was really thankful for that. So it was really just weed and alcohol since I was about 20, and as I said, I'm 26 now. So those were just two things that I could never kick. And honestly, I didn't really like alcohol that much, as I said. I think the first time I enjoyed drinking alcohol was my first time I ever drank Twisted Tea. If y'all have ever had that, they're just like super sweet, super sugary drinks in a can. They taste like a little bit of alcohol, but not much. And it was something that I could enjoy and get drunk while drinking. So then White Claws came out, and yeah, I'm a seltzer hoe for like literally the eternity. I hate beer, whiskey, scotch, tequila, hate it all. Like, I'll take shots every now and again of that stuff, but I rather not. So I broke up with the dude that I was with for 5 years, and pretty much doubled down on like the amount of weed that I was smoking, the amount of alcohol I was drinking, which was still only like maybe once a week on the weekends. I'm not the type of person to just like sit down and have a glass of wine or like a cocktail. Like, if I'm drinking, it's to get drunk. I don't want to have the extra calories if I'm not going to have the altered mind. For some reason, that's just not something that I do. So I'm not one to just like enjoy alcohol because of the taste, because as I said, from when I was a kid, I hated it. I broke up with my ex, and I moved into this apartment, lived by myself for a bit. And I started dating around, as most people out of a 5-year relationship are going to do, especially, someone who was 19 to 24 and very into a, monogamous relationship. I wanted to experience other people and see if there was somebody who was a better match out there for me, and that's exactly what I did. Dated a few people for a few months here and there, and then my first real relationship after Austin was Tim, who I was with for, I think we were together for 8 months. And he was actually the one who, kind of put sobriety in my head. I was obviously not doing super well as an individual. 2021 was a really difficult year for me. I just moved in by myself. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was very confused. And at first it was like just a question from him, like, hey, have you ever considered being sober? And I was like, damn, dude, I've been sober since I was like 12. I just have been going on with life. I never really thought it was a problem, because as a, successful 26-year-old, and at the time 25-year-old, I was like, even though I might not have used the best coping mechanisms, I'm still here, I'm still kicking. I live a manageable life. I wasn't compromising my life for substance, seemingly anyway. I think the mental side of things was a different story, and I didn't really understand that up until probably like a few months ago. So initially I was like, hey, let's just give it a fucking shot, because I had this experience where I got high. I was literally in my living room right here, and I smoked a bowl, and I looked at my bowl, looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, dude, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep constantly, all day, every day, just getting high when I feel like it's not really doing me any good? And that doesn't go to say that, people don't have wonderful, wonderful benefits from cannabis. There's a reason that, it's medicine, and there are dispensaries nowadays. My thought process was always, there are people who use it for a right reason, and there are a lot of people who justify their use of substance. And I still stand by that today. I think there are plenty of people who use substance as a coping mechanism that might not be the healthiest. But then again, there are people who just enjoy, relaxing at the end of the night, whether that's with a beer, a glass of wine, a bowl, a joint, whatever it is. And who am I to judge that person if their life is peachy keen? I think that was one of the main reasons that I wanted to come on in a video and talk about it, because I would post a lot on my stories, and obviously everyone's experience and perception is going to be different. Like, I remember there was this one post I made, it was like a question box, and I said, do you really think you're a better person when you're using substance? And that wasn't like a, hey, you're not a better person when you're using substance. That wasn't me calling anybody out. That was just me challenging people with a question. It's like, hey, if you genuinely do think that you're the same type of person when you're, drunk, high, or sober, hell yeah. But if not, like, maybe just think about that. And I think that was construed as, along with all my other posts throughout that 8 months, that it was like I was on a high horse, holier than thou type of vibe. And that was never the message that I was trying to send, ever. I never wanted anyone to think that, hey, I'm better than you because I'm sober now, even though I literally had not been sober since I was 12 years old. But once again, I knew posting about sobriety and posting about substance and questioning people and questioning myself was going to bring a lot of positive and definitely negative attention. And I just think there's not enough people on social media who give their honest opinion and experiences and thoughts, even if it is tainted by somebody else's opinion. And I think that's the coolest part about my page and my social media is you guys get to watch me succeed and fail and fuck up and say dumbass things and change my mind and literally do all the human things that I do. And you guys literally just get to watch me learn and grow. And there's a lot of people who hate me for it, a lot of people who love me for it, a lot of people who think I should just close my mouth. And I wish I could, but I think it's super important. And I will take the hate along with the love any day of the week. So back to the actual facts of my sobriety. Was with Tim for 8 months, and he was like, hey, have you ever thought about what it would be like to be sober? And at first it was just like, hey, damn, that would actually be kind of cool, like, let's try it out. And it quickly turned into not what I was expecting. And I think everyone deserves to have their own opinion and their own outlook on life, obviously. Instead of just supporting me in my decision to be sober, it was very much like a tough love approach. I had mentioned a few times, like, oh, hey, what if I decide, to smoke again in the future, to like have a drink again in the future? And I got reprimanded for that pretty bad. And that I shouldn't be thinking like that. But because I had a history of addiction and trauma, that it was different for me and that I couldn't control it, even though I think I should be able to make that decision for myself. So it just very quickly turned into me not only trying to prove myself to him, but prove myself to myself. And I think I will be the first to admit that I got lost in the sauce, for sure. And I almost lost my reasoning to do this. And I think being with him, he was a very much right and wrong type of guy. Like, there was a right way to do life and there was a wrong way to do life. And as humans, we are all looking for that. We're all like, dude, what is right? What is wrong? And how do I do life in a better way? Somebody give me the book. Like, that is just what we want as humans. And I think that the older I get, the more it is so fucking clear that there is no right way to do it. No wrong way to do it. Obviously, there's moral values, don't murder anybody, don't steal, don't lie. There's all these things that we should probably follow, but even still, a lot of people don't follow those things. So as somebody who hasn't had a lot of guidance from her family or loved ones or just people in general, I've had to do a lot of things myself. So meeting somebody who is like, hey, this is the right way to do things, this is the wrong way to do things, I was like, oh shit, somebody figured it out. Somebody knows. Like, somebody gave him the book that I didn't ever get. So let me try this for a bit because I want to see how this changes my life. And as almost miserable of a time that it was, I learned so much, and it was so necessary for my growth as an individual to try somebody else's way of life that I completely disagreed with. And I knew that, but I didn't have the tools to say, hey, I hate this at the time. So I just went with it. I was just like, hey, I dove in, I committed to this, so we are just gonna roll with it. So I was sober for 3 months, and then I decided to do a bodybuilding competition, and I think the bodybuilding competition was a wonderful distraction, not only from sobriety, but also from my relationship. It gave me an opportunity to just really focus on myself and obsess over something. And if, for lack of better words, I was obsessed with making sure my food was all good. I was getting my cardio in. I was getting my workouts in. I was posting enough. I was working hard enough. There was so many things that I was doing that was aiding in, you know, me continuing sobriety, along with my step study that I was doing, with my recovery group that I was doing, with therapy that I was doing once a week. I was setting myself up to be sober, and I stretched that for 8 months, and I was so proud to be able to do that. Towards the end of that, and towards, you know, my bodybuilding show coming up, my show is in June, and Tim and I broke up in July over text. We were long distance, obviously. He lives in California. And I still haven't talked to him since in like a decent manner. Towards the end of prep, things were just getting weird. I had just done this really hard thing, and I did it all by myself, almost without his support. At first, he was super supportive, loved it, but then I became selfish and needy, and almost just like a little bit too much, because I chose to do this when it was like, you know, an equal agreement. I sat him down at the beginning and I was like, hey, bodybuilding shows are really difficult. I'm going to be, you know, obsessed with this. I'm going to get really hungry, really irritable. I'm going to have mood swings. I'm obviously going to drop a lot of weight. My period's going to go away. We're not going to be able to go on dates. We're not going to be able to go, you know, enjoy workouts together, because I have to do these specific workouts. I have to eat this specific food. My digestive system is going to get fucked up. We had this conversation, but I don't think it just didn't register in the extent that I thought it would, which you can't really, you know, warn anybody about the hardships of a bodybuilding show. It's a lot, and it's usually a lot more than you think it will be. So our relationship really started to take a turn, and then when our relationship started to take a turn, I started questioning everything that I had done over the last 8 months. I was like, dude, did I even get sober for myself? Was this something that I did to try to prove to myself or him, or was this just something that was a complete like pick me type of thing, which I've done plenty of times in my life. I have chosen to do something for somebody else countless times, and it definitely like sent me through a spiral. As I said, we broke up, I think like late July, like probably around like July 20th, I want to say. I don't know exact dates. I just know it was after his birthday. I was sober for another month and a half after that. Yeah, July, August, September. Yeah, because I drank for the first time in September. And I decided to drink because I was questioning everything I was doing. I was like, okay, well, let me see if I have a drink, if this is going to completely like derail me and almost confirm everything that I was saying in the previous months. And initially, you know, it was just alcohol. I don't think I smoked for the first time until maybe November. Yeah. I didn't smoke for the first time until November, and I definitely didn't post about it because smoking was definitely my vice. Like, weed was my vice. As I said, I definitely abused alcohol a few times in my life, but it was not my vice of choice. Like, weed was always it. I was like, dude, if I'm happy, I'm smoking. If I'm sad, I'm smoking. If I'm anxious, I'm smoking. If I'm excited, I'm smoking. If I feel nothing, I'm smoking. And that was just it. So I never really told anybody that I had smoked. I think I told my two best friends at the time. And it was, you know, when I first started smoking, it was just right before I went to bed. I would smoke a bowl at like 9, and then I'd be up till like 11, watching TV or, you know, doing whatever, fucking off, being high. And then sure as shit, it was all day, every day. I think that only lasted for like maybe 2 months, probably like middle of November to middle of January that I was smoking like all day, every day. And then I was like I started getting that same feeling again where I was like, fuck, dude, I am not feeling good about myself. I don't know why I need to smoke this. My life is wonderful. Why do I feel like my mind needs to be altered? And not only that, but it was actually making me question who I was and what I was doing every single day, what if, you know, I literally was just crushing my self-confidence for whatever reason, whether that was the actual weed crushing my self-confidence or my inability to limit the weed was crushing my self-confidence, or a combination of both. From that point, I started only smoking in the evenings again up until 2 weeks ago, where I was just like, hey, let's just see if I can just do the evenings. And then I was really proud of myself that I could just do the evenings, because before sobriety, I couldn't even cut back. I didn't know how to do that. I would think about maybe I should smoke less, but then I could never follow through with it. So I was really proud of myself that I was still smoking on a regular basis, but I could restrict myself to only smoking in the evenings. But that excitement literally lasted maybe 3 days. And then it was like, fuck, dude, why do you need to smoke before you go to bed? And on top of that, I am trying to stay in a deficit right now to lose some fat. And I could not for the life of me stay in my deficit. I was getting really bad munchies again because I had stopped for so long, so my tolerance is much lower. So I was just eating the fuck out of everything every single night. And I was maintaining, I wasn't gaining weight, but I wasn't losing weight. And I just started getting really upset with myself. I posted about this on Instagram like 3 days into not smoking. I was like, hey, I stopped smoking again. And it has been wonderful. Today is Friday, and Tuesday this week, I was super heartbroken with the conversation that I had that day. And I called somebody to be consoled, and I was not consoled in the way that I needed to, so I didn't feel like I had anybody that I could call. So I actually smoked a bowl, 4 days ago now? And I haven't felt anxiety like that in a really, really, really long time. So I think I'm actually done smoking weed. I think it's definitely run its course in my lifetime. I've probably smoked more weed than anybody that I know. And I just think I'm done with it. And in terms of alcohol, the last time I got drunk was when I went to Disneyland, which was 3-4 weeks ago now. And I usually only drink special occasions, whether it's, you know, somebody's birthday, holiday, vacation, whatever it is. But I think I really needed to quote unquote relapse to kind of come to this realization where when I initially got sober, it was for somebody else. And now doing this all by myself, not really posting about it, not really talking about it, just experiencing it for what it was, realizing that it isn't for me. And I think that I just do much better as an individual when I don't, you know, use or rely on substances as a crutch to make me feel better. That I think it's just better for me. And of course, you know, I change my mind all the time and things can change, but yeah, I'm a wonderful person sober, and I feel like weed especially dims my light a little bit, and I'd hate that feeling. I hate that even the next day I feel like the afterbake effect, and I feel like I still can't, you know, have that clear, crispy thought process, and I crave that now. I literally crave being sober. When I smoked on Tuesday, I woke up in the morning at like 5 a.m. and I went to go on the stair stepper for literally, I think I hit like 30 minutes, like rigorous stair stepper. And just to try to get my mind off of whatever anxious thoughts I was having. And I never want to put myself through that. And if that's, you know, because I smoked weed, then it's not worth it. So I know I'm a human, and I say things and I do things and I promote things. And I feel like this is probably super codependent of me, but I do want to apologize to anybody who took my sobriety journey as a slight towards them for the way that they use substance and, you know, exercise using substance in their life. I never wanted to make anybody feel bad. I love challenging people with questions, and I love, you know, giving my experience on something, and I guess just telling my story, whether or not it's helpful to you or it's idiotic to you. I just think, you know, more real, honest opinions and experiences need to be out there in the world, especially on social media nowadays, which I think the real and raw content is becoming a lot more popular, and I love that. But I do want to apologize to anybody who, you know, had I guess anyone who thought of me differently because I made you feel like I was judging you, or just overall wasn't being your friend, or, you know, whatever. Anything, just really took any negativity from my sobriety journey, because I never wanted it to be that. I just wanted to challenge people, because as I said, I still firmly stand by, you know, I think there's a lot of people in the world who normalize their overconsumption of substance and don't really see it as a problem when it really could be affecting your mental health. And I know there's a lot of people who can drink every night, smoke every night, and still go to work every day and you know, provide for themselves, their family. And I genuinely don't really think that that's the issue. I think it's just the mental side of things. And I think that was my main issue, was I couldn't progress mentally in the same altered state that I had been in my entire life. And I just think this process taught me more than anything. And I'm so glad I did it. I have no regrets. I have no regrets at all for being sober and being able to, you know, relapse and learn everything that I've learned, because it brought me to the point where I'm at now, where I'm just like, hey, yeah, I don't think it's for me anymore. Which is totally fair. And if it is, you know, still for you and you absolutely love it, if you're drinking or smoking right now while you're watching this and you feel totally confident about that, you shouldn't let anybody question it. I let somebody question it, and I agreed with that, and it led me to where I'm at now. And, you know, that's definitely not going to be everybody's story, and I know that. And I just hope you heard my story. With any message that I send on social media, all I want is for people to know that we are all humans. We all make mistakes. Ooh, I'm gonna get emotional. We all do things in life that pave the way for whatever's next, whether that's a negative, positive, whether people hate you for it or love you for it. It is your life, and whether or not you choose to share that with people is totally up to you. Whether or not you choose to see both sides of a situation is totally up to you. We are just going through life all together in this this crazy world. So I didn't have a script for this video, or even like a piece of paper with bullet points in front of me to like touch on certain subjects, and I already feel like I missed a lot of the things that I wanted to say. But I really hope that this made sense, and I hope that I cleared the air for anybody who, you know, was curious about why I was so gung-ho about sobriety, and now I like don't really talk about it. And that's because as I'm usually an all or nothing type of person, and I'm very much realizing that all or nothing is toxic as fuck in most situations. And it's just not me. I need options. I need an escape route. I need to be able to jump in head first and then fucking 2 days later realize I hate something and have the option to jump right out. That's just the type of person I am. And that's okay. We're all different. So I literally love you guys to death, and I hope you have the best day of your entire fucking life today, whenever you're watching this, or tomorrow if you're watching it in the evening. And I will catch you guys in the next one.